Phil, go ahead, please.
I was just going to mention that we also have the community.
That's exactly where I was going, so you go for it.
That we do have an open community forum for presentation as well as question and answers coming up next week, February 27th at 6 o'clock at Central Auditorium.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Item number 4, requests to address the board. I have on my list Renita Bonadies first. Welcome.
Good evening. Renita Bonadies. I've been attending these meetings for over 3.5 years now. Most meetings in the past 5 months were over 2 to 2.5 hours in length. It can be over an hour in the meeting before public comments are even heard. Then there was a community meeting in September last year to hear about the bond proposals, and it was scheduled as a 1-hour meeting. I see MPS has scheduled yet another public meeting on February 27th with the same structure. It is to be a 1-hour meeting again. Questions will be answered as time allows. So is this just another 50-minute presentation and allowing for only a handful of questions from the public? Do you really want to hear from the public and what others are thinking about this bond proposal? Will you as board members show up to this meeting? Only 2 of you were there and available to interact with the community in September. Isn't it important for all of you to be there? If you are really concerned about the input from the community for this massive decision, why not attend? Do a true true town hall meeting and let the questions be asked publicly and answered for all to hear. Leave the end time open as people can leave when they have schedule interferences that need them to leave. Don't shut them down after just a handful of people out of likely 200 plus that will take time out of their busy schedules to attend and hear the true concerns of others, not just your projection of the benefits. Finally, I have not seen an agenda item calling for a discussion and vote on the cost to taxpayers for this special election. I know last time the information was never discussed in a board meeting or voted on, yet the cost was over $133,000 for the special election last May for the millage renewal. I'm sure this special election will cost as much or most likely more. Is the board not required to carry out all of their business in the public according to the Open Meetings Act? If so, how are you spending that amount of money without discussing it and voting on it in public for all of us to know what the real cost is to the taxpayer? We certainly have listened to much smaller amounts being discussed and voted on here. It really is time that this board becomes as transparent with the public about the business of the district as they claim to be. Like never telling the public about the lawsuits against you, but ducking into closed sessions with a generic Open Meetings Act reference. You were all elected to do better than this. Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the list is Joe Bonadies.
Greetings. Your reading of the bond language was very surprising at the January meeting. The part about the tax increase feeling like 3.25 was very insulting. I would like my taxes to feel like 0, but it ain't happening. And Phil's comment about it being 3.9, as we had previously discussed. Nowhere can I find anything mentioned over 3.25. Maybe in your back rooms, subcommittee planning, but not in public. However, what this looks like is you are turning the 2015 bond into a zombie, and you will not let it die in its later life, but instead divert the excess over natural 2.95 decay towards the 2025 bond. We did not vote for a permanent bond in 2015, but a finite one. Next point. Regarding the latest fads in sexy schoolroom structures. You have the Central Elementary School with an open floor plan. I'm old enough to remember the trendy school concepts of the 1960s and the schools built in the 1970s. And then they had to be remodeled in the 1990s after it was being a bust. Question, will the new schools be retrofittable into a more classic classroom structure if we yet again get ahead of ourselves? By the way, an open floor plan with noise traveling between spaces Sounds like a concerning idea in an era where 1 in 36 kids are now on the autism spectrum. Lastly, we have entered a new paradigm of no political support for the elements of critical race theory. As such, I want to state that it would be highly disappointing if any federal funds passed through the states were sacrificed because you decided to die on the hill of DEI. If there is a choice between serving the students and looking progressive, the students come first. Thank you.
Is there anybody else that would like to address the board? Okay.
I would make a couple comments just so that everybody would understand a little bit more. We briefly discussed the central auditorium, that the presentation is going to be minimal. It's not going to take up the whole hour, maybe 20 to 30 minutes. The rest of it will be question and answer period. I think as many people that sitting up here will be there as can be there. And we also have talked about adding additional times, so to make sure that we get all those questions answered. And there will be an end to that meeting, but then if there is additional questions that have to be answered, we will schedule another one and we'll keep that momentum going.
I will say that at the last meeting, Brian, Penny, myself, I don't remember who else, there was somebody else was there. We stayed until every single person asked a question. Not every question was asked in front of a mic because some people weren't comfortable asking in front of a mic. So then Brian and Penny and I all made ourselves available and stayed long after the hour was over. So,
Will there be the opportunity to ask questions electronically like last time as well? Is that?
Yeah, we can certainly figure out a way to do that. And, you know, I'm getting questions via email, and we still have on our website the opportunities to submit a question through the Connect. Thank you. So there are lots of ways, and happy to answer any questions, but we'll work on that too.